Welcome, everybody, to a call for judgment. I want to cover this story. It occurred a few weeks ago. I wasn't uploading at the time, about how the United States government, the Biden administration, is now rolling out their plans for 6G wireless communications. And of course, we're going to see this going forward with whatever clown they put in power, whether it's Trump or Biden. The narrative will be, well, we have to beat China to 6G, not the narrative of, do we need 6G? Do we need to download a song a millisecond faster? Do we need the stuff that comes with it? But in reality, it's not about that. They need 6G because 6G is powerful enough to completely control the human body if the human body has a certain something in it that'll make that human body work together with what's coming out of those 6G towers, which people, and including 5G towers, which people don't actually see with their own eyes because they can't see it, but they are very unfamiliar with it, and a lot of us have been talking about it for years. So the U.S. is beginning planning for 6G wireless communications, which of course, and you see there's an article as well from Forbes where they say generative AI won't take off without 6G. Well, what they're talking about in this article is they say, in barely a nanosecond, the latest fervor around generative AI collided with reality as these advanced tools answer people with fact and fiction, plagiarized content, and disturbing confrontations. The good news is that 6G connectivity is waiting in the wings to help companies make AI models more efficient and responsible while data from machines and connected devices continues to grow. As AI advances, organizations need to explore where 5G stops and 6G should begin. And again, 6G will be inside your body.
You will have such a good digital twin that you'll be able to go into the metaverse, into a virtual reality world, turn a dial, pull a switch, feel around, and actually change it in the real plant.
Absolutely. And this is not far off. I mean, the physical and the digital worlds, they will grow together, and the result is exactly what you just said.
I wanted to ask when you all think we're going to move from this form factor to something that's on your face, glasses, and when computing's all on the edge.
All right, 50 seconds. Who wants to answer quickly?
I think it will go. It will. First of all, it will definitely happen. I was talking about 6G earlier, which is around 2030. I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual kind of the most common interface.
Wow.
Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
6G will liberate human potential. It will transform the way we live, the way we work, connecting human worlds, physical worlds with digital worlds. And that will unleash new human possibilities. We are proud to say that Bell Labs has actually done many pioneering innovations in the field of communications. The laser was invented here, the cellular network, the transistor, actually the basis of AI was laid here. And this proud history that has led to also Nobel Prizes and Turing Awards. And so we are already preparing for the 6G era. We actually already started with the research on 6G 2 years ago. You want to be 10 years ahead of the game before the commercial deployment. You cannot do this alone. You need the partners. We are now leading the very first flagship project for 6G, Hexa-X. If you think of what the different generations of networks enabled, 2G and 3G unleashed the potential of human mobility and connectivity. 4G unleashed the potential of information and social engagement with social media. 5G unlocked the potential of machines and sensing. And so what will 6G unleash? It will enable perfect knowledge of human worlds, connecting us with the digital worlds. 6G will enable holographic communication. It will be as if I'm teleported to your environment, like working on the same design, the same object, as if we are in the same room. 6G will enable us to offload mundane tasks from humans, things that machines do better, mental tasks, quality checks, to really unleash things that humans are best at, solving creative problems, strategic thinking. With 6G terahertz, we can not only do communication, but also use it as a sensing capability and do things that for instance, cameras cannot do. See things around the corner. If you think of the billions of devices that are going to be connected, the 6G network needs to bring reliable services, high performance, do it in a sustainable way, and then also in a secure way. We always like to anticipate future human needs, understand the real hard problems and solving them in creative and disruptive ways. Our ambitions come with real game-changing innovations that define the future of communications.
I was talking about 6G earlier, which is around 2030. I would say that by then, definitely the smartphone as we know it today will not anymore be the usual kind of the most common interface.
Wow.
Many of these things will be built directly into our bodies.
So 6G is going to be inside of you. It's going to have the capability, of course, to control you. There's so many films, there's so many things I've covered over the years. And even if you look, which I'll cover in a separate video, it seems like the new season of Black Mirror, which is one of the most biggest predictive programming shows out there, it looks like they're actually going in on this topic as well, which just shows you they're just desensitizing people, because that's what the show does. That show is obviously showing the social credit score. It's shown, I've done dozens of videos on the AI technology, and now they're showing pretty much people being controlled by technology, going violent, going AWOL, bouncing off of walls, attacking, assaulting people. I mean, it's just going to get more chaotic. You already see the effects of 5G and what it's doing to people. But again, 6G will be inside of you. So let's just take a look at what the White House is doing here. This was a week or two ago where the White House plans they met with government officials, business leaders, and members of the academic community to discuss strategies for building out next generation 6G wireless tech and lessons that they've learned from the rollout of 5G. The 6G tech is almost certainly years away. And again, that's 2030. So that's part of Agenda 2030. But the administration's effort is likely part of a bid to beat China and reestablish the U.S. as a leader in wireless connectivity. And again, when you see the left and right on the same side, understand, obviously, we all know that they're working together. But the 6G thing, you might think, oh my gosh, the Biden administration we're going to roll out 6G, but Trump will stop it. No, he won't. Are you kidding me? Trump was one of the faces of rolling out 5G. Trump will come in. It'll be the same thing. We have to beat China to 6G. Biden, we have to beat China to 6G. They both have the same exact perspective, just like they had the same perspective on the magic potion that they wanted everyone to take. Trump's the one who came out with it, Operation Warp Speed, right? These things all tie together. Then they pretend that they have friction over these other things to keep you in this illusion, to keep you in this bubble, in this mirage that they've created. So it's not years away. It's literally part of Agenda 2030. I mean, yes, technically years, but it's right around the corner. It's right in front of us. And now they need to desensitize people into thinking that they need it. Of course, they'll use trigger terms like misinformation. 6G will be able to fight off misinformation. Part of stuff with the metaverse, part of stuff about, your bodies, because of course this will have everything to do with what they get inside of your body and how these 6G towers will work. But they want you to think that it'll have to do with benefits to your health. Oh, 6G is going to help monitor your heart. You won't have to have a pacemaker. You won't have to have an iFit on your wrist to monitor your steps. You'll be connected. And people are like, oh, okay, that sounds great. And they'll be desensitized to all this technology because of every single show and every single movie that we see over the years that supports this, that supports transhumanism. They've glorified transhumanism instead of making people fearful of it. And then they say anyone that's not with it, oh, they're in a time capsule. Oh, man, a call for judgment as a flip phone? Oh, my goodness, he doesn't know. What is he, in the Stone Age? He doesn't know how technology works? Oh, yeah, no, I have no idea how technology works because I don't want 5G near my head. I don't feel like having radiation coming out of it when I use the phone, which is rare, but I don't want it in my home. I mean, these people don't have any clue. They're just like, they think it has everything to do with like what's cool, what's new, what's fancy. They don't have an idea in the world of what's going on. So they say it's imperative that we start to look at these issues early. The White House wants to take lessons learned from 5G about the importance of early involvement and resilience. The official said apply that to developing a 6G network that optimizes performance, accessibility, and security. And of course, this will have to do with the digital ID as well being inside of you. So compared to 4G, the new 5G technology promised significantly enhanced performance in terms of speeds, reliability, and zero lag time, opening the door to everything from new surgical procedures and safer transportation to more immersive video games. Oh, wow, that was really necessary. Of course, they don't tell you the ramifications of 5G and the dangers going from even 4G to 5G, not that 4G wasn't dangerous either. They don't talk about radiation. They don't talk about any of it, right? And then they tell you things like this, where the young generation out there are like, oh, yeah, lag time, great, no more lag time, no more terms of If they knew what was occurring to their brains, if they knew what was occurring to their body physically from something they can't see with their own eyes, then they would say, right? If I told them, hey, go sit inside of a microwave and tell me how that feels, they'd be like, what, are you nuts? I'd be like, well, it's not the same thing as sitting in a microwave where you would catch fire or whatever might happen, but it's pretty close. It's just happening at a different degree. And it's happening to the insides. Why do you think so many people are sick? So many people aren't able to have babies anymore. It's not just, the chemtrailing and the chemicals in the food and the potions people are taking. 5G has a lot to do with it, as did 4G. So then, and one of the things too with 5G is that if you talk to anybody out there, like I'm not downloading a lot of stuff, but obviously, I'm on the internet, so I, will stream or things like that, especially, to make content and those things. Nobody's noticing any difference in speeds at all. But they just tell you like, oh, it's faster. And then, they'll start telling us that, 5G, like this article is saying, we have to learn lessons about 5G. Well, 5G just came out a year ago, they claim, even though it was around longer than that. So what lessons, are you learning already? Oh, well, the lessons are like the speeds aren't good enough. And instead of just, they're talking about gaming, like gaming faster. Like, oh, let's weigh the pros and cons, but for the liberal degenerates who are gaming 24/7 and need the fastest stream possible versus what's happening to every human being walking the Earth's bodies because of the 5G. But they won't talk about any of that stuff. They ignore it. Scientists have come out, actual people who you would consider scientists, who have studied these things, who have used, EMF meters and all these types of things, and they've literally shown the dangers of it and said that this can't be good for people. They've held, having this stuff against, people's crotches, what this type of radiation would do to somebody's sperm count or a woman's versus, with their eggs, even though we don't know what a man or a woman is these days because apparently women have sperm. Who knows, huh? I mean, everything is just chaos, and you could count that in as 5G is why people are losing their minds as well. And just wait for 6G. So 6G, again, it's going to be pushed by the left and the right. It won't matter who's in power. They're going to tell you it's best for society, and they're going to tell you can have all this new fancy tech. Oh, it's going to be so transformational where doctors will be able to solve cancer using 6G, and I mean it's going to be unreal. They'll be able to monitor you 24/7. So if you're going to have a heart attack in an hour, with 6G, we'll be able to tell if you're going to have a stroke, and we can prevent it. And these idiots will buy into it if they just see a couple videos pumped out by CNN and NBC, and they'll be like, yeah, we need 6G. We need it. With 5G, they barely had to say anything. They were just like, you can download Taylor Swift's newest song faster. And they're like, yay, let's get 5G. No one was like, do we really need it? What are the dangers of it? Because they can't see it, right? It's just like the chemtrailing. It's just like the chemicals in the food. They can't see it with their own eyes. All they see in front of their faces is chaos going on around us. That's all fake. All the stuff in the news, faker than the stuff in the movies that they create. The race war, the gender wars, all this stuff that they're doing. They see that and they're distracted by it while they're just giving us chemical baths, while they're just continuing to pummel our flesh, and they're pummeling people's minds as well. So the narrative is going to be about the U.S. trying to jump ahead of China. And they say the more limited 5G adoption in the U.S. can also be attributed to the fact that the 5G network infrastructure developed slower than expected. As a result, 5G networks are less potent, and consumers may see less incentive to pay a premium for 5G connectivity. For consumers, the performance of 4G is good enough so that they are less willing to pay an additional fee for the low latencies or faster data of 5G promises to consumers. It's unclear what 6G will look like, the administration said. It expects that by combining elements such as AI, advanced software, cloud computing, and cutting-edge semiconductor chips, it can create faster networks to support application, here we go, in health, energy, transportation, water, and agriculture. And again, transportation will be big too. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of stories out there, and a lot of them are true, of course, about insane stories going on the road rage, people driving recklessly because they're texting and driving, and they're all magic potioned up, et cetera, right? I mention this all the time. It's the most dangerous thing going on in society. But they're talking about it on the mainstream news because they're planting seeds in people's heads about driverless cars that are on a 6G network that you don't have to worry about car accidents. You don't have to worry about road rage and people getting out of their car and killing you because you cut them off. These are the stories that are now starting to promote, and that has to do with 6G, and has to do with smart cities, and has to do with these electric vehicles. That's the whole point. So they use energy, transportation, water, agriculture, and health. These are all things that will weigh on people, right? Especially the stuff with health. And they'll tie in stories with, energy. It'll be more energy efficient. Okay, check mark. Transportation. We don't have to worry about any of this stuff with cars and traffic. Or, check mark. Water. We don't have to worry about contaminated water or low water. Check mark. Agriculture. You don't have to worry about the environment. Check mark. And that's how it works. So they went from 4G to 5G by promoting faster speeds. But to get to 5 to 6 and to get to what they want, which is for it to be in you, they're going to have to start promoting these things like your health, the benefits of your long-term life, living longer. Those are the triggers that they're going to use. When in reality, these people don't realize that they're going to be completely under control and completely under massive amounts of radiation assault. So our government now, obviously, we know 6G is coming. I've been talking about it for about a year or two now since they did the 5G rollout. Of course, next is 6G. But, the clip I played earlier with the World Economic Forum, promoting the guy from Nokia, promoting 6G being inside your body. That's what it's about. But they have to use the proper mind control tools to get people prepared and to get people to accept 6G inside of people's bodies. Because people are going to be like, whoa, hey, what? So you're going to hear story after story, desensitize. Get people to see it in movies and all this stuff and be like, that's cool, that's neat. Get people to not be fearful, right? So they'll do stories with like, this person has 6G in them. And oh my gosh, I feel so much better. I don't have anxiety, I don't have depression. And it'll just continue until people are on board. And of course, by 2030, obviously not everyone's going to be on board, but a large percent of the population, which is mainly just the communist liberals, who will do whatever the government says, clearly. They're still walking around wearing masks, which is insane. They will do it. They will wear it. They will put it in their bodies, whatever the government tells them to do. But the rest of society is going to need to be duped into it. And that's what they're going to be working on doing, is propaganda to dupe people into it. So you hear things about, 5G hasn't worked out the way we thought. It's not that great, but we need to beat China to 6G, whether it's Trump or it's Biden. It's all part of the globalist agenda, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you for being here. Hope you're doing well. God bless you and your families.